This study is on assistive technology and twice exceptional students. My particular study is over a case study on one twice exceptional student in an advanced place calculus course. The problem is twice exceptional students may encounter difficulties that impact engagement and their achievement within the classroom. This was found by Halsey et al. Back in 2022. So in my AP course, I expect my students to complete daily work as well as write a reflection over their learning, which is 1 half-page journal over every section that we cover. And students with disabilities struggle to complete this, not just because they can't do it, but because their disability precludes them from that. And so my goal was to find technology that could help remediate the disability that would allow them to achieve. So it's first important to understand what is twice exceptional, or 2E. Megan Foley-Nickpan is one of the leading researchers in twice exceptionalness, and she explains that students who are twice exceptional when they are gifted in one area and have a disability in another. And so there's a lot of ambiguity when it comes to 2E because there is no universal definition for giftedness. Every school district might have a different definition, every state might have a different definition, even every country talks about giftedness in different ways. And so because there is an ambiguity within giftedness, it also leads to some ambiguity in identifying 2E students. And within the disability realm, there could be a specific learning disability, an SLD, or a behavior disability, or an autism. They could lie within the autism spectrum. So my particular student is gifted mathematically and verbally, but he has a specific learning disability. So his strengths are in verbal reasoning, critical thinking, and solving challenging problems. But his weakness or challenges happen with decoding, self-advocacy, and writing. So within this, we also need to consider student engagement. Halsey et al. Talked about student engagement 3 ways: cognitive, emotional, and behavioral. And student engagement directly links to achievement. So when we consider this 2E student in student engagement, there are times when students feel shame because they're smart, but they fail to achieve like their peers. Bell et al. Discovered this in 2015. And so my student has expressed he does not feel comfortable contributing to classroom discussion because he doesn't want to be looked at as, if he's wrong, he doesn't want to be thought of as dumb. And so he holds himself back within the classroom. He doesn't turn as much stuff in. And so what I wanted to do is use the assistive technology to bridge that gap and to help him achieve. So my first plan to do this was trying speech-to-text technology to assist the writing disability, his writing disability. And so Foley-Nickpan actually talked about that we want to expose kids to their talent domain, which for him is math, and remediate their challenges, which is his writing. So my thought was, if instead of him writing out his journals by hand, that he could speak his journals into the voice typing on his Chromebook, and that would write out, and he could verbalize his learning versus writing it out. So remediating his disability, but talking about his learning, since one of his strengths is verbal. So what I would do then to assess this is compare the work he turned in first semester to the work he was doing with his voice typing, and to compare the two to see if there was improvement. The second plan was using Desmos as a platform where I would build interactive lessons that would give him direct feedback. So this Demetriadis talked about students who are strong in STEM fields are not always able to reach their potential because of their disability. So what if I could give him immediate feedback and build his confidence with the lessons using technology, where he's much more adept using technology than he is at writing things down. And so I would do this for daily work, and I could compare the daily work he turned in first semester compared to what he was able to do using the Desmos lessons. Then the third plan was more about creativity. So I would use the Satori platform for the student. The student would go on Satori and create, instead of writing everything down, maybe they'd create images. Maybe they'd screenshot work they've done on the whiteboards. They could do all sorts of different things. They could include Khan Academy lessons that they've worked on. They could do a lot of different things that they could create their own learning using the Satori, and Satori could show me what they've actually done. And once again, I'd take the whole unit and compare both the daily work and the journals and see how the student used their creativity to learn and show me what they've learned from the particular unit. So I decided ultimately on plan 1 because I felt like it addressed my student's specific disability. Bell et al. In 2015 talked about characteristics of 2E students as learned helplessness, low self-esteem, and inability to set realistic goals. These characteristics fit my student to a T, and I wanted to help him not only be more successful in this class, but maybe find ways that what we learned together, he could take forward and help in other, not only in other classes, but even into the future and hopefully college. So that the speech to text technology would help him have a bridge to remediate his disability. So the first week, I just talked to different people. I talked to our district coordinator, and her and I talked about different technology to use. She actually recommended that I use Flipgrid and use that to record our conversations, and as one possibility, and then I could use that to translate it onto a Google Doc afterwards. I also met with the student, and we kind of talked about what this was going to look like. And he was all on board, so that was good. I talked to his mom, and she was really good with the plan, and then we set up times to meet throughout the next couple weeks. So our first meeting to actually do something then was, I just wanted to have a conversation. I didn't want the student to feel that nervous about what we were going to record or what we we're going to type. I just wanted to have a conversation and have him tell me about one of the lessons of what he actually learned. So we just kind of went back and forth. He opened his binder, I opened mine, and we found that mine was a little bit more detailed because he doesn't take good notes because he doesn't write a lot of things down. A lot of times he'll even use his phone to take a picture. So we used my binder, and he was looking at it and talking about the different connections he had made while he was doing it. And I would just kind of prompt him when he would struggle to complete the next thought. So the third meeting, then we actually met. We recorded using the Flipgrid, and that went really well. The conversation went a lot smoother. And I then, after we met, I went home and I took the recording and created a document. So this is the document that I made. And boy, that was not the best thing that we could do. What we did find, though, was the student really liked the recording to listen to for him to study. So that was a positive. But the voice typing did not recognize a lot of that. And so we just decided maybe we'll try something different. So our fourth meeting, we did record it so he would have the recording from Flipgrid, but he spoke specifically into the Google Docs using the voice typing, and he'd say a sentence and he'd clean it up as we went along. And so that went a whole lot smoother. And you'll notice this paragraph it makes sense. So he was able to actually go through and actually make a paragraph of his learning. So when you look at this, this is one particular section that he did using the voice typing. This was one whole chapter of 6 sections when he's supposed to write a half a page for one section. He only did a half a page for 6 altogether. So this was a huge, when you compare this as 6 sections to this paragraph of 1, he made a lot of progress and was able to actually feel success. And he told me that this works so much better than when he had tried it before. He had used it back in middle school, but he felt like singled out because the teacher would take him out of a class and put him in a room by himself. And I asked him, I said, is this something you can just go home and do on your own? He said, absolutely. And so he didn't feel like it just was singling him out and making him feel bad, but he could do it on his own, and he felt much more confident about using the technology itself. So in reflection, I was very, very positive about all the results that I found from this. He was able to complete work. He was gaining confidence. He'd come back after we had worked together. He was actually contributing to the discussion during class because of this. He also said he could use this in other courses while he was in high school, and possibly use it in college if he was got a little more comfortable and had more success with it. I felt like I learned a lot, not just about this particular plan, but I thought some of the other plans had possibilities as well. I've used Desmos in the past. I didn't like it this time because it was pretty intensive, but I am trying the Satori, and I think I'm going to allow other students that option. They might want to use that for writing their journals and creating their own websites and having that for themselves that they could actually take to college with them. I have a lot of kids who come from calculus. They'll come back and say, oh, I wish I would have taken my notes with me, or I wish I could have done this. Well, if they have their own website with all of their learnings on it, that's something they can always have, and they can look back and realize how the different connections they've made. So I felt very positive about all of the pieces. It just kind of took a little working out the kinks throughout the process, but overall it was pretty good.